Welcome to ComicCast, issue number 162, brought to you by Dwayne's World Comics and Games, 457 East Sullivan Street in Kingsport, Tennessee. They carry comic books, graphic novels, statues, toys, and gaming merchandise, including miniature games, board games, as well as RPGs. Check them out, Dwayne's World Comics and Games. What did I just say? Kingsport, Tennessee. My name's Boogie Bentley.
And I'm Adam Wade Adams.
I'm Jason.
And this is Gaumer. Are you sure, Adam?
I'm not sure.
I confused myself because I was trying
This
to
is Adam?
work YouTube and read the read. Is that how it works? At the same time, we're at ComicCast Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you get social with your media. Also, if you are listening to this on YouTube, do us a favor, smash that like button and share out the link. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you know when we are live. Also, this is available on all major podcast platforms. See what I did there, Gomer? All major podcast platforms, courtesy of the Outright Geekery Podcast Network.
It sounds better.
Let's get some business out of the way first. We talked about it today. We're going to make a slight change to the show. Still going to be on Sundays, but we're going to try doing it a little later. So we're going to, starting next week, we will be live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, we thought if we're
see how that works.
If we're going to compete with the NFL, we might as well do it with the actual popular NFL game on later on in the night.
How many people watch the NFL that listen to this show?
I don't know. I was just, if you hate NFL, now you have an alternative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go.
And Chad Johnson has arrived in the live chat. Nice. Adam Hempseed is here. Big Frank's here.
Adam.
Yule is hanging out. What's up?
Yeah,
what's up, guys? Thanks for joining us. Be sure you smash that like button. We already ran 2 people off. Must have been terrible.
IBC hated it.
JJ Abrams is like, I see that guy in the bottom left. He's gonna hate on my book. I'm leaving.
Oh man. No. Yeah, I don't know. So Sunday will be cool at 7 o'clock. I'm just excited to sleep in longer because that's like one of my few days to sleep in. So.
To give us some more time if we're behind. And I'm curious to see, dude, just right in the middle of the day, how that plays out. Doing it a little bit later. But it seems like we did one late show and nobody showed up. But I think if we're consistent, we'll run it for a month or so and see how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Sundays in general are like the day most people stay off the internet. You know, it's like even on Facebook, the attendance is low. You know, so.
Think so? Because I heard from this was a big time podcaster that said Sunday is the best day for social media posts.
I don't know about that, man. According to like all my other like meme pages and stuff, like that's like when the internet's dead. Like no other memers I know of, like in all my groups, like don't post on Sundays.
Memeing, being a shit poster is so hard, so they gotta take a day off.
Yeah, dude. Careful, you're gonna get us demonetized already.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh! Because of Ryland Grant now talking balls videos get demonetized. Yeah. Like, I didn't say anything, man. Chad Johnson says he's gonna be sloppy drunk by 7. That's gonna be
sweet. That'll be awesome.
What's up, Mastodon? Mastodon hanging out.
Hey, Donnie, Mastodon, what's up?
We got to talk about James. Jimmy.
Yep, big news. Batman Day yesterday.
Yeah, what did you guys? Did you guys get anything?
No, Adam did.
I didn't. I watched Rocky.
I got a couple comics.
You care to share them with us?
I got some comics. They were Batman.
They're just the free Batmans.
Batman.
This one that's got some kind of cutout mask thing on the front.
Oh, sweet.
And it's I guess
so you can wear it.
Yeah,
you can be the Batman who laughs.
You can. Yeah, I guess you're supposed to like cut out the little eye parts at the
I'm disappointed that you haven't done that.
Yeah, dude, I don't cut up my comics. And then they had this.
Oh yeah, that one's gonna be worth a lot. That free one they gave out to 1 billion people.
Did you read it? Man, you ask Adam what he got, and then you just hate on him.
Oh, I'm not hating on it. I'm sure it's a lovely read. I'm sure it's a
bag and boarded. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you read the Nightwalker one? It's like an adaptation of the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm not sure what to think of it yet. It's definitely like a young teen Bruce Wayne, and I'm not. I almost thought when I went through it, it's like maybe I should read the actual book, the actual novel first before trying to go through the adaptation of it, because it was weird, but it did give me some like Batman the Animated Series vibes as far as the look of it.
Nice. Yeah,
but that's the 2 things I got.
For me, for like
Awesome.
Batman Day, Comixology had a huge Batman sale, so I got Batman Eternal by Scott Snyder. They had the first 3 volumes for $5 each, which is awesome because they usually go for $30, I think.
Now that's
for some reason.
that's the 52
Omnis?
issue weekly that came out, right?
Okay. I guess I have no idea. I just know
Because
it's
that was
really
Scott
a lot of
Snyder,
pages.
James Tynion. That was a list of people who did that.
I thought
it was pretty good.
Yeah, cool.
I have
I'm
them
excited to
all.
read it. Yeah, I'm excited to read it. It's just a heck of a deal for like sometimes usually costs $30 for $5. Like, come on, easy.
Nice.
So with
And
James
also they
Tynion
have
taking over Batman, are you guys gonna go back to reading it weekly or monthly?
Absolutely.
Well, it's
I already
I've
am.
been
so.
reading it through King's
Yeah.
King's Run. King's Run was good up until the Nightmares run, and then
it
it's
was
gotten stale.
I liked the first volume when they first
War of
introduced-
Joke and Riddles was dope. Okay,
That
it was
fun. I
great.
actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
See, and then after that, in my opinion, once he started focusing on the wedding that everybody knew that shit wasn't going to happen. Everybody knew it wasn't going to happen. So he kept playing this, and then it didn't happen. And he expected people to be surprised. And when they didn't, he kind of blamed us for his story not being enjoyed by people who are supposed to enjoy his books. It was just weird to me. And then he brought Nightmares, and now the stuff that's going on even now with the City of Bane, it's Batman and Catwoman on vacation. The last 2 issues. Come on, let's be real. They're on vacation.
They're
It's
still
stupid.
on the beach.
It's dumb. It's
so
wonderfully. I mean, Clay Mann draws
Great
the
art.
hottest Bruce and Selena. Oh my gosh, they're just gorgeous. But whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm ready for.
I'm so
this
far
era
behind
to
on
end.
it. Are you
I'm ready
not surprised that they're slapping a new #1 on it?
No, not surprised at all. I feel like we kind of felt it coming.
No, well, they're not, are they?
No, they're not. That's what I'm saying.
No, I mean they are after 100. They are.
After 100,
okay,
they're well.
okay.
We're not sure if they are after 100.
Well, that's kind of
fair.
stupid. That's dumb. Why would you not?
I'm not
do it
sure.
now?
I've heard that. I heard that James Tynion will be on the book and at least
Till
until
100,
100.
Okay, because that's what Yule's saying in the chat. Question
Yeah.
is after what's the team after issue 100?
Yeah,
But I
hear
think what everyone is assuming is that it's obviously going to be that far into Bendis' Superman run that he'll be ready to move off of Superman onto Batman.
Bendis
And
said
you
he
know
didn't
how
want to do
Bendis is with
Batman.
new books. He wants a #1 because he
So
knows
that's
it'll
why
sell more.
Bendis turned it down so he could take it now after 100.
See, I don't think
Bendis-
he
nah.
turned it down. I don't think he was
said-
available.
yeah,
I think
it
he's
said
got
he
too
was.
much going on.
Nah. I mean, the news reports I saw said that Tiny is going to 100, and then they already have the artist that's going to take on for #1 on after that. And it was
okay.
offered to Bendis, but Bendis turned it down.
Yeah, I
mean,
heard that because he said he has too much going on.
He's too busy inventing his own useless characters.
Oh, don't start. I had a conversation with Matthew Lane, regular listener of the podcast. He wanted to go back and borrow the Oz Effect stuff from
my
Action
God,
Comics
dude.
because he's
Dr. Oz and Superman.
don't spoil it. Shh. He just borrowed all that from me because he's reading Bendis' stuff and he's like, I don't get what is Jason's problem. I don't understand why everybody hates Bendis. He's like, this is good. He's reading
you talk
Action
about-
and Superman.
Yeah. I mean, you could talk about Bendis creating characters that are worthless. He created Gold Balls, which we're going to get into later.
Yeah,
He created Miles
Morales.
Morales that
He created
everybody
Miles
loves.
Morales.
Co-created Miles Morales and
Co-created with an
Gold-
artist. With the
Gold
artist.
Balls was a terrible character until now. When
I loved
he's
Gold
finally
Balls.
interesting.
I've
So-
always loved Gold Balls.
We
Finally
all
made it.
enjoyed Naomi. Come on, man.
I enjoyed the last issue of Naomi when it was over. How does this James
we can't-
Tynion pay and we're talking about Bendis?
Once again, when
Because Bendis
you need
deserves
to,
our attention.
you
Oh,
need to
dude.
specify when you say we all that excludes Adam Wade Adams.
I'm so mad at what he did in the newest Superman issue where he brought in Dr. Oz to take away Superboy,
Oh my gosh, you're
to
gonna
get him out of the
He
picture.
is spoiling it.
Took him out of the picture. And then he didn't know what to do with them. So he just does, what we saw at the end of the book. I'm like, you kidding me?
What do you the Oz thing wasn't his thing. That was from back in Action Comics before he took over.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. But he brought him back. He was already off the table. You know what I mean? He
But
brought
I
him back
liked
'cause
it.
He didn't know what to do with Superboy, so he needed a reason to get Superboy out of the book. So he brought in Oz to get rid of Superboy.
But I
And
like
then
that.
Everything's
I liked
done.
it because we're like, where the heck is Oz? Like the Oz effect was such a big deal, and it's like, how
Yeah.
the crap is Superman's dad back? And everybody's like, oh, we're just gonna sweep it under the rug and ignore it. And Bendis is like, hold my beer.
No,
I'm gonna put my toys back in the toy box.
The reason Oz appeared was because Rebirth, because of DC Rebirth and Dr. Manhattan. Jeff Johns had a great plan, and there's a lot of little tidbits of Dr. Manhattan messing with the whole entire DC universe. So we saw it in Green Lantern and a bunch of other various issues. And it was a great plan. It was going awesome. And then the politics changed in DC. Jeff Johns stepped down. I think another director took over, and studio took over.
And
the
span that it took Doomsday Clock to come out, things are bound to change.
Yeah,
at any publisher.
I think the politics changed before that happened at Doomsday Clock, and then that exasperated even further because then you had to change the story because Rebirth was over. Are
you suggesting that Jeff Johns had to change the story of Doomsday Clock?
Absolutely.
Oh man, I don't know about that. It's been so good. He added in. If that's
Heroes
true, he's an amazing guy.
Once they mentioned Heroes in Crisis and Doomsday Clock, I was like, all right, it's over. Rebirth is dead. This whole entire mission statement of their whole entire project of Rebirth is just gone, dead.
Well, wasn't that the whole point of Doomsday Clock though? That the Rebirth, Manhattan did the New 52. That was his thing.
Now it's like retcon where he did everything. Pretty much. Yeah. But for Doomsday Clock was initially just for Rebirth, and it was to bring in the Watchmen into the DC universe, explain a lot of other stuff, and then call it like a new chapter. Like after Rebirth is going to be like the new DC. You know what I mean? It didn't have a name, but But I was excited to see what it was going to be, and everything was awesome. It brought back tons of things all the fans wanted to see and liked, and then the politics changed back to the New 52. The same crew, same things that we didn't like before as fans. Are coming back, and so
you're not wrong. Yeah,
maybe they'll go back to drawing the line at $2.99.
I doubt that.
But the reason,
$5.99 now.
Yeah, but in this issue of Superman, I'm glad they didn't mention why Oz came back in general. They're like, oh, this mysterious thing happened. We don't know why, but we're gonna put him back magically to where he came from. It's like, okay, sure.
Magically,
because
they said they were taking him back in time and putting him back on Krypton to kill him.
So they have the power of time travel and stuff, but yet they still want to create these united galaxy nations when they can just use time travel to solve all the problems. So it's like, what are you doing?
Now the Flash,
every comic book. That's every single comic book.
If the Flash has taught us anything, going back in time never solves anything.
That's true. He's suggesting that the thing that they fixed using time travel was meant to be something bigger, and the time travel thing just sort of came out of nowhere to resolve a loose end that nobody wanted to pick up.
Exactly. Yeah, and it sucks. I like that character.
It makes sense. Your logic is undeniable. It makes sense. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around Doomsday Clock changing partway through. And I bet we'll never know the full backstory to that. We'll never know. But I would love to, man. If that happened, holy crap.
I think in the meta text of reading some certain issues and things, I think you can kind of tell. Like, for instance, in Heroes in Crisis, when Wally was like, oh, everyone thinks I'm the hope and I'm the future. And I'm not, but that was the whole point of Rebirth. It's like, it was to be a hopeful universe and not these edgy New 52 stuff, that didn't work and no one liked. It was a hopeful, nice place, and it was going to bring it all together. It was bringing back things everyone loved, and then Heroes in Crisis, it's like, it's like we got to accept, change, and we got to change things again. It was, I feel like it was insulting the fans and people who said to they also said something like what are you doing to change? Oh, man, I forgot the exact words. I'll have to read Heroes in Crisis again, which I really don't. Which I am going to, because my friend and I want to have a discussion on YouTube. We're going to have a whole thing over it. But,
again? Oh my God. We're back to trial. I thought you were going to be in jail.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But
you know how Jason argued that court case? He just yelled at the other people.
No, I didn't yell.
He's like, I'm not asking questions. I'm just telling you facts.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so funny.
And it was a trial. For those that don't know, we had a Heroes in Crisis YouTube trial. Is if Heroes in Crisis is guilty of being a bad comic, that was the case,
Funny.
And one of the witnesses that the defense put on is a huge Green Lantern fan, and I asked him, messing up, there's a dead Green Lantern on the floor in Heroes in Crisis in the first issue. And I was like, all right, well, the ring would go back to Oa, and it would tell the Green Lanterns there's a Green Lantern dead, and they would expect it immediately. Right away, it'd be instantaneous. But Tom King is too dumb to even know that and put him in there, And then he's like, don't you know how Green Lanterns work? He's like, oh, I don't know. I don't read Green Lantern. I'm like, I knew he was. I wasn't gonna call him out on air. I'm like, you liar, dude. You're just
dude. If it's court, if a podcast is actually saying, hey, this is court, and you're gonna be a lawyer on comic book court, I'm gonna be hard ass.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah, I'm gonna call you out, Green Lantern. No
I was
fan.
so mad. that he was
Jason
live.
kept leading the witness and putting words in their mouth. It was awful. It was a
Hey, I watch
train wreck.
Judge Judy every afternoon. I know my stuff. Okay.
So funny.
Is
so
it true that you read Brian Michael Bendis? Then how can we believe anything you say?
I love it.
It's awesome.
Feel like I'm freaking just getting hated on again. I'm not allowed to like Bendis. Not allowed to like
I love
Tennessee's
how-
quarterback.
Yeah.
You can like what
Congratulations,
you want.
James
Personally,
Tynion.
I don't like
This was
Bendis
your conversation. about how
anymore.
awesome you are.
Anymore. I used to like Bendis.
I have no chance talking about him on here between Jason, Adam, and Yule in the chat. I need to wait till Yule's not online to bring up Bendis. Man,
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
agree.
anybody hates him more than Yule.
Look at what Yule said. Look at how Bendis treats established characters and then how Hickman does. You know what I mean? Like you can totally tell who has class and who's the better writer.
And look at Gold Ball.
Oh my
What
god!
are you talking about?
Gold
Tom
Ball.
Pete's
Got
stupid,
class.
and Bendis has
Bendis
no
is a
class.
classless hack.
Hickman is a class
I'm
act.
changing
all
the
right?
name of the podcast.
Hickman's a class act. All right. That's all I'm
Bendis
saying.
has no class.
I'll say it again. Congratulations, James Tiny in the fourth on Batman. This was your
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah,
Hating on Bendis.
you're welcome. I'm sorry, we have no class. We're just
See you in
like Bendis.
January, buddy. See you in January.
All right, we ready to talk comic books?
Let's do it.
Oh,
Let's talk about Gold Balls.
I think this will be a
love
short and
Gold
sweet one
Balls.
because I don't think Adam read this either.
Yeah, it'll be
Absolute
short and
Carnage,
sweet. I can keep
number
it
3.
short. Number 3, Donnie Cates, Ryan Stegman, JP Mayer on the inks with Frank Martin doing colors. VC's Clayton Cowles on the letters.
Clayton.
Thank you, Clayton. Solid-ish. The art is still the highlight for me in this. It had some cool moments. Scream shows up. The struggle between Eddie and the symbiote continues to be like the driving hinge point of the story, which I like because that's been sort of the overview of Venom, its whole run. And it's a solid way to take it. It ended with Venom and the Hulk hooking up, which was cool. That's it. That's all I got. 5-issue miniseries. It's over in 2 more books, so it's going quick.
My brain immediately went to the wrong hooking up.
Yeah, they hooked up. It was hot. So good.
Yeah. I guess the symbiote kept talking about wanting to leave Eddie Brock, and it stabbed Norman Osborn in the chest, and started to act out and do things on its own.
It's right in a way.
Yeah,
Eddie's kind of a wuss.
Yeah,
I'll just say it. And the symbiote's like, no, we got to kill these guys because they're gonna murder us and your child. What are you doing, Eddie? And the Venom symbiote's just like, you know what? Whatever, Eddie, I'm out. And he goes,
was it a symbiote or was it a symbiote?
Symbiote. What?
Nice Office Space reference. That was good.
That's it. Absolute Carnage. Still good. Not great.
Man, you guys didn't really have anything at all to say about that.
There wasn't really nothing happened. Nothing really.
I had a fun time. I mean, it was a fun
it was entertaining. It was like an action movie entertaining, but
where's this at in the overall story? Is it like midway through?
Well, it's 5 issues, and this is number 3. So
okay. So over the
about
hump.
halfway. Yeah, it's over the hump.
Yeah. So it kind of makes sense for this issue to be like that, because usually they are, right? This is kind of the. Yeah.
I would say that is a fair assessment. This is just, again, your run-of-the-mill sort of Marvel Comics event.
Cool.
Take it and leave it. That's what we get.
Moving on.
Do it.
I'm taking care of business over here. I didn't hear a single word you said, so I'll be surprised when I get my copy of Absolute Carnage. Moving on. Spider-Man, number 1, written by JJ and Henry Abrams. It auto-corrected to Adams. That's weird. Art by Sarah Pichelli. Colors by Dave Stewart. Letters by Joey C.
Joey Caramagna.
Love
that guy.
Dude, this was probably one of my favorite covers of the year. You can see it right there, the die-cut variant from Chip Kidd. Then Sarah Pichelli, however you say it.
I think it's Pichelli, but I'm not sure.
She's one of my favorite artists at Marvel, period. Yeah. She is so freaking talented. I was so disappointed when they pulled her off of Fantastic Four. She's perfect for that book. This thing, man, when this first came out, everybody was hating on this book because of J.J. Abrams and his son.
Love it.
But then it comes out, and I'm scrolling through Twitter, and I see nothing but positive. I saw so many people hyping up this book, but it's not even really about Peter Parker or Mary Jane. This is about their kid Ben. They're setting him up to be the new Spider-Man. MJ's dead. Peter Parker is, what is Peter Parker? He's just like a deadbeat dad.
He's a
businessman.
pirate. He's a pirate.
PTSD, depression, man. He's living with scars.
And then you got Aunt May raising Ben. I like this. I had fun with this. For me, though, I wish it was ongoing. Make Ben the new Spider-Man and let's freaking run with it, man. Let's go. I think it hurts it that it's a 5-issue miniseries because I feel like at the end of the day, it's just going to be irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's definitely irrelevant. Let's just be real. This is a what if Elseworlds type
no
story.
doubt.
This is not going to impact the 616. This is not going to do, anything to the Spider-Man that everyone knows and loves. All 3 or 4 of them that Marvel actually has in the 616. But
this is better than what Nick Spencer's doing with Spider-Man.
100% agreed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Spider-Verse, I'm sure he'll show up in the Spider-Verse.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I want to say there was a discussion. I think it was on Comic Pop or maybe Cape Joel on their YouTube channels. But the discussion was that, what if superheroes and comics continue to age how they originally were, when they were first created, what would happen?
Hey, Messi.
This would have been a really, really cool direction, I think, if that age progression would have kept going and Peter Parker would have got older and kind of retired from being Spider-Man. And we saw this, his life go on past, being Spider-Man. And that's kind of what Chip Zdarsky, or was it Jim's? I think it was Chip Zdarsky that did with the Spider-Man life story. That was awesome. That was really, really
wonderful.
Cool.
I love it.
I'd like to see more of those. That'd be fantastic. So, that's nice that we have those. But this was a fine story. It was good for what it was. I think a lot of people are still mad that they started the countdown with 4 for some reason.
Yeah, that was weird.
People really wanted the Sam Raimi
promotion and build up to
adaptation. That'd have been really cool. So I think that was really really dumb promotional. Little stunt there, but besides that, comics decent.
Yeah, in the chat, everyone's talking about the nepotism, and I 100% agree.
Mm-hmm.
But he pulled it off. It was a good story. So nepotism, I agree. He got his foot in the door a lot differently than I would think you should be able to get in the door. But hey, what we got was worth it. Man, there were some. I just want to call out Joe Caramagna. There was some inspired lettering in here. One example, when Ben and Peter are arguing in the car, when they're taking, he's on his way to the airport and he drops his kid off. When they're arguing, the word balloons sort of overlap to show how they're arguing. It is very well done. A little bit of shortcuts like that were used to sort of get the story out because, they had a lot of editor on this, to stream things along because they knew they needed it to win. They knew they needed a successful book, but they also knew they had 2 guys who have never written a comic book before on the book. So it worked for me. I liked it. Yeah,
the little the words at the end, that it said it was really cool. I guess they've been working on it for years, years in the making. I'm J.J. Abrams, a busy guy, so so that's understandable. But as for the story, it's like who knows how long it took him to write.
What has he ever done?
I know. Right?
Yeah.
For me, people talking about how the way they got the book though is irrelevant. It's kind of like people. I get it. When they first made the announcement, we were making fun of it.
Sure.
It is, whatever. But it's like people that hated on Brock Lesnar when he got a title fight in the UFC. Oh, he doesn't deserve it. Who's he beat? He's 1-0. He doesn't deserve it. Well, guess what? He went there and beat Randy Couture and became the heavyweight champion of the world. Clearly, he deserved it. Same thing here. If people are enjoying this story, then J.J. Abrams and Henry, his kid Henry, whatever, they deserve the opportunity if they pull it off.
Yeah.
But and Nightwing says he's digging Spencer's Amazing Spider-Man much more than this, and that's cool, man. I'm glad you're digging it. I like this better personally, but I stuck with Spencer's run for a long time. It just kind of went up and down for me.
Yeah,
and
me too. Yeah.
I think my expectations for it were low. So that probably helped me a little bit, but because the story itself, the story is very interesting. How it starts out, I think, is perfect because it's not building up. They're not drawing it out. They're letting you know first thing what has happened, and then you understand after all this you're following Ben. I like how they subtly do things and don't just blatantly point it out. And I especially love the end where he showed the Spider-Man costume when Ben's looking at it, because it almost looks like after that night, when what happens at the beginning, it's like Peter Parker took off the Spider-Man costume that night.
Exactly.
Like he was done after that night.
Yeah.
And the villain, I kept wondering about the villain because I swear it reminded me of a mix between Onslaught and Apocalypse from the Cyclops and Phoenix storyline where they're in the future.
Sure.
I forget the name of those books. It was like a mini series from the 90s. But it's like this guy looks like he looks like Onslaught.
Yeah.
With like an old guy, right? Some old dude.
Well, he's old now. I'm not sure if he was old before,
right?
How old he was before. There are a couple things in the chat.
Yeah, hold on. If you missed the free digital code I had up on screen, Jason's got it there. It's on the screen. First come, first serve. Whoever gets it can have it. And then Adam's going to show his here in just a second.
And that is an I, by the way. D7I.
Yeah.
I know I's and one.
Show me yours. I'll show you mine.
A couple of things in the chat. Jeremy's talking about Spider-Girl being better. He's absolutely right. This was very similar.
You talking about the
story?
Renew Your Vows?
I don't think that one. I'm. It's the Mayday one. I actually think that's from an alternate universe, which this is too.
Is
but
this the M2? Yeah. Is that M2?
Something like that.
The M2 universe where it had like Kid Juggernaut and stuff, or
it might. It's hard for me to remember. I read so much Spider-Man.
I like those Renew Your Vows stories.
Yeah,
man, I dug those.
Pete's daughter one, so that is Mayday Parker.
Yule also brings up that there was a lot of talk on social media that they fridged Mary Jane, and they did, without a doubt. However, in fridging, it's more so they do it and then forget about it. In this, it seems like Mary Jane is the driving force between little Ben's will to move forward and the same thing that's stopping Peter from moving forward. So she's a bigger aspect, but yeah, I 100% agree. There definitely is that aspect of fridging Mary Jane in this.
Because you know why? Because Peter Parker's in love with Mary Jane.
Anything else on Spider-Man #1? If not, we'll get Adam to show up his code.
I'm excited
to read
that
big code on screen. Big
code. Hold on, let me. I gotta put it on StreamYard so I can make sure I'm doing it right.
Yeah, I'm excited to read the next issue, if nothing more, out of that.
That's good right there. Spider-Man #1 from the Abrams family.
Yeah, and Sarah, and their friend Sarah.
Yeah, I think Massey was talking about the artwork earlier in the live chat, dude. I was saying she's one of my favorite artists at Marvel. She's so
Chad also loves Mary Jane.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Mary Jane.
Gosh, let's get demonetized again, guys. Come on.
We're just talking about half baked. That's all.
There we go. All right. Jason's got it.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, for y'all hanging out on the audio only, get in the YouTube and get free comics.
Oh yeah! Wow,
right.
Sorry about that. That was a real boring segment for those.
No, I explained it. I explained it to the audio listeners.
For those listening, we're holding up a code right now.
We're holding up a series of numbers and letters.
Read this code.
Oh, come on. Yule says that he thought her Fantastic Four was rushed and sloppy. Well, I think that's her problem. I think she's slow, but her art is so good. Yeah. So good.
And I think she works better.
Got this bin now.
I think she works better for stuff like this miniseries, where they have a little bit more time to get it done and the deadlines are set and she doesn't have to try to catch up. Yeah, that's good.
I think we may have shot ourselves in the foot because we show free codes and then people leave the live chat because they're all racing to Marvel to redeem it.
Yeah. Come back.
Come back after you get the book. And let us know who gets it. I'm curious who makes it there. I don't remember if it was 5 or 6.
I think it's 5.
5. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 5 issues, which is probably still 1 issue too many, knowing Marvel. But again, we'll see.
Let's move on. What's next? Inferior 5, #1.
Oh man.
I'm excited to see what everyone has to think about this.
All right, let me go ahead and.
It set the stage very awkwardly before I read any comics this week because Adam decided to give us a breakdown of his opinion of everything really early. So he's like, this was good. This sucked. Didn't like this. This went this way. And I'm like, oh man, all these opinions are in my head now. And that's what I'm thinking as I'm reading the books.
Yeah. I knew this was going to be different from the Inferior Five we're all used to, but I didn't realize how different
And you say used to? I don't think I've ever read the Inferior Five.
I've never read it.
Yeah.
With Dumb Bunny and all of them.
Yeah, no.
So this Inferior Five #1, written by Keith Griffin and Jeff Lemire, art by Keith Griffin and Michelle Delecky and Jeff Lemire, like colors by Hi-Fi and Jose Villarrubia, and letters by Rob Lee. So see, just try to run through this real fast. The story kicks off in 1988, Dangerfield, Arizona. We're in the Dangerfield.
I was like, hey, I get no respect.
Hey, we're in the danger zone of Arizona. This is a Dominator-led invasion. So it's like the city is in ruins and all that junk. And we got a group of kids, Justin, Lisa, Helen, and Vance, and Teresa, who Teresa is called Dumb Bunny by Vance. So that's referencing the original Inferior Five team. But there are disappearances happening because there's a small group of Dominators remaining that are kidnapping people. And they're using this weird... And I've seen a lot of people reference this, that it looks like this child named He Who Marks the Houses, or whatever. But he looks like Sam from the movie Trick or Treat. Which, if you haven't seen that, Halloween's coming up. Check out Trick or Treat. It looks like a little character named Sam. But they single out humans who are suitable to be kidnapped, and that's that. And then we go to a backup story where Peacemaker is sent by Amanda Waller to Russia to acquire a super weapon that the Dominators have left behind, and what he finds in Siberia ties back to the first story in Dangerfield. So I don't know how I feel about this. It's almost like do you want to read the next one because it's good, or do you want to read the next one because it's so vague your brain just wants to know what is happening? It's not that you care, you just want to know for informational purposes. I think I'm more interested in the Peacemaker story though. I like the Peacemaker. He's kind of got a Judge Dredd vibe to him.
Do you think that Peacemaker is that kid's dad?
The Sam?
Or Justin?
The one that had his mom go missing? Yeah.
That was Justin, right? Wasn't his name? I had it in my notes. Where's it at? Where are my notes at? Yeah, Justin. The kid they opened the book with. I read this book so different than Adam. And I know Adam's laying out all this plot, because he's taking the lead on the book. So he's putting all these pieces together. For me, I opened the page and I'm instantly slapped in the face with freaking real life. Just this post-apocalyptic, this kid going through all this tragedy and trauma, and they're talking about the invasion of Metropolis. You don't have to know anything about that old invasion storyline. You don't have to know anything about Inferior Five. All I see is this kid going through this heartbreak with amazing artwork as he's walking through these streets trying to find himself, man. And like, it's almost like he's talking about his mom dealing with the loss and packing up and moving and trying to find this fresh start. And it's so real for me. Like, you ever lose somebody that you're really close to, and like your life changes, man. It's like your life is split in two. It's like, this is before when I had this person, and now the rest of my life is here. It's like two. And that's, I just could relate to this kid, man. It was so real. And I don't know where they're going to go moving forward, but they managed to make me care about this kid that I knew nothing about within 5 to 6 pages. I was hooked.
Yeah, this it confused me because it made me, why is this called Inferior Five? Because it's like, if you think about it, the story has nothing to do with what people remember of the Inferior Five. So is it tied to the original books? Are they just trying to rebrand it into something completely different? It's like, why? Because you could have called this anything. You could have called this Peacemaker.
Could have been a book for Image Comics.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, this could be anything other than Inferior Five. So why did they have to call it Inferior Five other than there was, I guess, 5 kids? Why did it have to be Inferior
Well, it's
Five?
like I mean, I don't know.
Called the 5.
Well, I'm sure he's going to get there. I mean, like you said, there are hints leading to, or perhaps implying that they are going to evolve into something more than just these group of kids. I was confused and lost, but kind of like Boogie said, once I ignored the fact that I didn't read Inferior Five and I didn't know what happened in Invasion, I didn't, read any of that stuff. It was still awesome from the very first page when they're talking about these worst case scenarios. Like Boogie said, Jeff Lemire bringing in real life. I was sold, dude.
I believe you'll hit it. Possibly renewing copyrights.
Yeah, that's not a bad.
Like when a movie, when a production company has to make a movie because they purchase the rights and they have to make the movie or lose the rights to it.
Yeah. But again, I'm not mad at that. I don't care what you call it. Yeah. If you put this team together of 5 kids, but again, that's me and Gaumer talking about. We have no idea who these people are. Bill says great book will be underrated. I'm already thinking, I don't even know if I want to add it to my pull list and just keep reading it. That's how much I liked it.
Wow.
The Peacemaker story art was really good. Was Black Hammer like art, which was fun, but it was weird as the 2 stories seem to be linked, but that art in the Peacemaker story had that vibe to it, whereas the other art, it almost felt like the scary stories to tell in the dark.
Because Lemire did the artwork on the backup story and he wrote it, right? He didn't write. Well, he co-wrote it with the other guy. Right. The main story.
Then you say that, I think they're just taking, hey, we're both writing this, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Lemire's really scripting and plotting, and Giffen's just like, okay, I know how to make it look pretty. Because they're pros. These are both, I mean, best. They're doing their best work right now, both of these creators. So,
and if these 2 stories, so what?
It's one of these books that, exactly like Yul said, will be underrated. Great book. This is one of these Oscar sort of movies, where it's a great movie, but no one's going to see it.
I think that guy's the kid's dad.
I think that's an amazing idea. I never thought that, but it does not surprise me at all.
I think it's a 11 or 12 issue maxi series.
Yeah, it's a 12 issue maxi. Yeah.
But why will nobody read this? It's freaking Jeff Lemire. It's like Yul talking about saying he's a favorite. I love Jeff Lemire. If his name's on it,
it's just the way. I think it goes back to the way people read Marvel and DC. Yeah, the fans of Jeff Lemire are going to pick it up, but the fans of Batman, the fans of Superman, the fans of characters aren't going to pick this up.
Reading characters is so overrated.
The way the story pacing, if it's going to be like this, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that I might want to trade weight it.
See, I thought the same thing.
I'm trade weighting it. I want to read it all together.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, so I'll just wait.
Because eventually these 2 stories have to collide, right?
I would think, yes.
For sure.
With a writer like that, he's going to make everything.
At some point, at least, if not overlap, meet. And maybe I don't know what's going to happen to the artwork when that happens. And
Jeremy Massey is my version of Jeff Lemire. He says he needs to read this. He would dig it. All right, let's do this. See that, Massey? You see it back there? That's Massey's. I'm pointing at my computer like you're looking at my screen. That's Massey's version of Orphan on a Batman and Robin Eternal. I love it. Oh my gosh, it's like that's my only comic book art I have on the wall, and it's Massey. Awesome. He's in the live chat.
So, I gotta mix this Pitalik.
Moving on. Anything else? Anything to add? Let's jump forward to flash forward.
Nice segue, but that's
written by Scott Lobdell, Booth, Ratman, and Guerrero. This is actually a Dark Knight's Metal tie-in.
Heroes in Crisis tie-in.
Yeah, and the Heroes in Crisis tie-in.
Yeah.
I mean, they boot it as a Heroes in Crisis tie-in because it involves Wally West, but
you mean mainly about
the Dark Multiverse, which I thought we were done with all this already, but here we go. We're going back into it.
I thought.
We just did this. But it talks about the Dark Universe, how it takes over. It's old. First character shows us as Tempest Fusionaut. which I think is an original creation of Dan DiDio.
It is. He was in Sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome,
so,
Jason.
Yeah. I read Sideways.
I had to look it up.
No, I didn't even bother to look it up. I mean, I saw him in Sideways, and I figured he was a new creation, and Dan DiDio was writing Sideways, but I didn't research if he was older or not. But yeah. So, Scott Lobdell, I like to call him an agent of the New 52. Part of the
in a bad way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like New 52 stuff for the most part. So him and King always support Dan DiDio and do whatever he says, and they like to talk trash or trash of these new characters we love, like Wally West. So I came in already with a back concession, of not liking this because it's written by Scott Lobdell and it involves Perry West. It's
that's why you're on the lead for this book, right?
Yeah,
because I knew you would open it just like this. This is a TED talk. You're not even talking about the book yet.
It's kind of like I'm gonna get a little politics in here, but it's like almost like Trump appointing
it sounds like is this lawyer Jason we're hearing right now?
It's almost like Trump appointing or someone in charge or something that is for the I don't know.
You're trying to be so careful.
You got it. You've already dug a hole. You might as well finish.
All right, so we're just gonna drop that and move on. So going into this, I was like, all right, well, so Tempest Fusionaut talks about the dark multiverse is taking over all these planets again. Apparently, for some reason, when I thought it was all over, but apparently it's still taking over planets, and it says that it's growing and kind of covered them. Like they drew it like goo taking over stuff, but it doesn't work like that in Dark Knight's Metal. You had to have the Forge maker to make those bad universes and bad worlds. So right away I'm like, okay, all right. And then it goes to Wally West and he's in jail. He's like,
the dark multiverse is now the nothing from the Never-Ending Story.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It really is. Yeah, I guess, and that's how it is now. But yeah, so you have Wally doing self-loathing in prison. Keeps getting attacked by all these villains, and he doesn't even care if he dies. And then he kind of does. He protects himself in the end, but
you knocked my collar off.
Yeah, so he's wearing a collar.
That was your worst fear 2 pages ago for that collar to get knocked off. Now you're loving it.
Yeah. Collar. I don't know. So, anyways, he's needed to save the multiverse apparently, and I do like seeing the Mobius chair. The Mobius chair is back. They had that in an interlude for some reason. They brought in in the middle of this comic. They had an interlude that had a Thanagarian like a hawk, and he found the Mobius chair, and then he died in the Mobius chair because he couldn't handle all the power, which happens to most people who sit in the Mobius chair. But as far as I know, people who sat on it was a New God and Batman. I'm not sure who else sat on that chair. I think Batman. The Anti-Monitor is the one who made it in the first place. So I
don't.
But anyways, that had an interlude in the middle of the comic for no reason. Yeah, there's an interlude in this comic for no reason. But it's gonna the reason was just to talk about the Mobius chair. So we know that Wally West is going to sit in this Mobius chair and save the multiverse is what's going to happen.
And he's going to be a new character, and everybody who has been so mad that Wally's come back and got nothing but crapped on will now rejoice because Wally will be the next new god or whatever.
Right. I think so too. He's going to be
feels like a boy. I 100% agree.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, I like Wally West, so I'm going to, I'm still continuing reading this. It's only a 6-issue miniseries.
Yeah.
But it was super convoluted, way more difficult than it needed to be.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the writing. The art was cool. I was fine with the art. But didn't enjoy the writing or story.
I had a major problem right from the get-go because prison is probably not the best place for someone suffering from mental illness. Now, I think that was done purposefully. Maybe Scott Lobdell was trying to make a statement there, but he did not really go in, full board on that whole thing, right? And is this still supposed to be the fallout of Heroes in Crisis?
Yeah, I guess.
If so, then Wally taking this journey into darkness, maybe exploring his inner demons, so to speak, in the context of him going through the dark multiverse, it's got potential, but I'm not a big enough Wally West fan to care. The panel design in this was awesome. I mean, even the art was just okay, but the panel design was...
I really like the art.
I mean, I didn't mind
when he was laying there in the prison cell, and Man, I thought it looked great.
But when he's laying there in his bed and all that other stuff is like around him,
Yeah.
that's what I mean by like the design, the creativity in the panels. But the art itself was just, okay for me. But I don't care enough about Wally to move forward. And I think I've already called what's going to happen. By the end of this, Wally West is just going to be Billy Badass because the fans demanded it. And that's great. I'm okay with fan service and giving Wally West his due. I'm just not a fan of Wally West.
First, I want to thank Chad Johnson for the $1.99 super chat, and for Adam to chug the Diet A&W. Was his request.
It's a work.
If he does that, he'll belch, and that's Patreon only. You got to pay monthly for that.
Thank you, Chad.
I muted Adam so he can burp all he wants.
There you go.
Yep, and it's muted. It's muted. You're welcome.
The thing is, then number 2, I said first super chat, but number 2, I wanted to say that, I always wanted Wally West to have his own Flash book anyways. He should have had his own Flash book during Rebirth the whole entire time. So
when he came back, he should have been back.
Yeah, exactly. We should have got
he came back, but then they didn't do anything with him. What can we do with him? Yeah. Hey, let's let Tom King make him even worse.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, why?
And
why pick on him?
He was in and out of the Flash book, but he was always whining and moping the whole entire time. And
quit picking on Wally.
He just should have had his own book and have him find out where his kids and wife were and bring them back. You know what I mean?
When they did Rebirth, when you read that first issue of Rebirth, you thought this whole thing is going to be about Wally West.
Yeah, I wanted it to be because that was compelling. Yeah.
Now I'll say something unpopular because you guys know that I actually enjoyed Heroes in Crisis, and say what you want, but I like depressing stuff. I like seeing Wally get put through the ringer. That's what I like to see.
Yeah. Things people that I feel good.
You like Lives in Shambles.
I just thought some of this was good and some of it was dull. And I want to see that aftermath. That's the one thing I kept saying. If Tom King's going to tell this story, I want to see what happens after the fact. But I feel like we're just going to go on this adventure, and maybe he'll do like Gaumer said, and you will see him dealing with things as he goes through this. But I feel like it's just going to be like, oh, I'm so sad. I'm so depressed. I can't believe I did this. My collar's broken. I'm back. It's like, okay.
I don't care if I die. I don't care if I die. Then his collar broken. It's like, well, guess what? Now I'm going to beat you up.
Yep, I'm back now, baby.
Do you think
aftermath?
Lobdell's been tasked with making Wally West a redeemable character
without
again,
a doubt, 100%.
And he's not just. It doesn't seem like he's enthusiastic about the task.
I think he's enthusiastic. I think he put everything he had into this story, but I think that's 100% what he's doing. He has been tasked by DC to fix Wally West, and it's the same beef I had with the Legion book last week. Man, just do it. We don't need a 5-6 issue miniseries to fix Wally West. Just give us a new Flash book with Wally in it and make it good.
Yes.
Duh.
Yep. And you could make the first story arc about dealing with the aftermath, and then just move forward and tell the story that you want to tell.
Or even the first issue about the aftermath. It doesn't. Heroes in Crisis was okay. It wasn't that big of a deal where you need to have a 5-issue miniseries to excuse Tom King's poor writing.
Well, that's what people want because people are so mad about it.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's almost like they're focusing on how terrible they were.
The majority is what Jason is saying.
But they're fixing it by focusing on how bad it used to be and then fixing it through a story. Don't do it. Just ignore all the terrible crap and give us a new good story. That's what Marvel does.
Right. Then you guys complain about continuity and say they don't tie anything together.
Who cares? That's why Marvel is better, because they don't care about continuity. They throw it out the window when it sucks, and they keep the good stuff when it's good.
And maybe that's the difference. My expectations were low for Spider-Man, but I actually enjoyed the story. My expectations were low for this book. I almost didn't get it. I got it anyway, and it met my expectations, which were not at all. I just did not feel anything inspired. It's like
very blah.
It's like
I'm not reading this.
You made him a murderer, and now you're trying to make him. You're trying to redeem him. You're trying to bring him back to make him a marketable character again. So the
worst part is he wasn't just a murderer. It was an accident. The problem is that he screwed up I keep punching my microphone. Then he tried to cover it up. That's where it was bad.
Exactly, dude. Jeez, like it wasn't an accident. Like
So I go back
it
to
wasn't an
screw
accident.
all this. Let's
he's
double down and make him a villain and piss him
he's a
off.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. I was
That's
like,
what I
if you're
wanted,
gonna make
and
him bad, then go ahead and make him bad. Have him be evil for like a year. Who cares?
Yeah,
Just make
but I
sure
knew
he
we
gets
would never
story.
do that.
You should just have what's the guy's name? The was a Black Racer?
Yeah,
or
Black Racer, Reverse Flash, like
no,
train
but
while he wasn't evil or something.
the death version of
Black Flash. Yeah,
Black Flash. He's in Williamson's run right now.
Yeah.
No, but he was. There was something. It was like
Black
I
Racer?
thought he was Black Racer, right?
Yeah, the new guy, Black Racer.
Or something. It's like you should just have him show up and look at Wally and say, "You suck at this," trying to kill people and cover it up or something. I don't.
It would have been dope to get like Reverse Flash and be like, okay, well, like let me teach you the ways, tap into the negative Speed Force or whatever, and like be a bad guy. And then
they did it with.
You can make that an emotional thing against him and like Barry. You know, it's just like I did this because you beat Barry and stuff. It could have been way more emotional.
They
Even
did
like
it with
Flash
Speedball.
War, it could have made Flash War so much better. You know,
Yeah, they
That's
did it
what
with
I thought we were
Speedball
going to
at
get
the end
with
of
Flash
Civil
War.
War.
It was just such a disappointment.
Yeah, they did it with Speedball and turned him into penance at the end of Civil War over at Marvel. They could have done that here. I think it's a missed opportunity.
Which was an interesting story, wasn't it? The more he
got hurt, the more powerful he got.
Yeah, and so his suit would actually stab him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he had spikes on the inside of his suit where if
at the end, we got
worse.
President Superman at the end.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, President Superman.
And I think that's okay having this little tour of the multiverse because I'm not going to whine about that because that's what I loved about this week's Year of the Villain Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
So that's a cool aspect of it, but it's not enough to keep me on.
It's like I'm gonna read it like no matter what because I want to see what happens and I want to see what they do with Flash. Even though and same thing with Batman. I care about the character. I read like almost every Batman issue almost.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely the main ones.
Except for Batman and the Outsiders, which is
I
amazing.
know.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
I
your
won't wait till
problem.
it's done, and then I'll read it all. But what was my point? Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool seeing it'd be cool seeing this journey through the multiverse, and I just hope that it becomes compelling, like emotionally compelling.
Yeah,
because I want to see Wally like not just be like whine and cry about it, but like actually have circumstances happen that affect Wally's personality and give him reasons to change, and not just be conveniences that happen. So I don't know if Lobdell can do that. So
we'll see.
That's it.
All right. Yeah.
X Minute.
What are we up to? A House of X number 5? Is that what this is?
I think
4?
so. I don't know.
I didn't write the title down. I wrote every damn thing, every bit of this book. I wrote down what other series has had
5,
competition for book of the year, single issue of the year. Holy crap.
Amazing.
Jonathan Hickman, Pepe Larraz, Marte Gracia, the colorist, still going to give an extra special shout out to him for keeping both of these books together. Clayton Cowles again, Tom Muller getting the design. Society was the title of the issue, and what a society it is. The mutants are immortal now, and there's a long, drawn-out process that I wouldn't be more than happy to get into super details with, but I will if we want to.
You got 7 minutes.
It involved 5 mutants working together along with DNA samples that they got from Sinister and X's, and I call him X now, not Professor X, because I have a theory there. Downloaded consciousness of every mutant ever. Literally, the Professor X character X has downloaded the consciousness of all of the mutants. And their plan is to eventually get all of the mutants, even the ones who have died and were depowered, and to hook them up.
So is the Ash Ketchum of mutants?
He is the Ash Ketchum of mutants.
It's awesome because you can like bring back anybody you want to from X-Men history, man. And if you were going to bring this into the bigger continuity of Marvel, you can bring back anybody.
I think it will. If you read the solicits for X-Force, they describe X-Force the same way that they implied in this issue, that in the future they might need a team to investigate mutant deaths or apparent deaths to make sure that they're actually dead.
Yeah, that's right.
Before bringing them back.
Yeah, well, I want to read that.
That's deep shit, man. That's awesome. Totally. Oh my gosh, I love it.
I don't know. There's a theory going around that this X might be like Mr. Sinister X.
No, I think X is Moira.
Okay. Interesting.
And it makes sense because she could have someone else download her consciousness into a body of Professor X. And they already mentioned because of the Proteus effect that they have a lot of clones of Professor X. They always have one on standby,
Right.
because Proteus blows up every time he uses his powers. Worst power ever.
And they said they haven't played around with putting someone else's conscience into a different body, but they said that. But like, who knows if they did?
They made an extra point. He made an extra point of saying we haven't experimented with it. And I'm like, you're a liar.
Yeah, exactly.
They have definitely experimented with that.
For sure.
But basically, that's what this issue is about. And it had as badass the mutants are, because they're all working together,
all united,
and it's easy to recruit people when you can say, hey, we have a mutant island now where everything's peaceful, and look what we can do together. We can be immortal, all of us, forever. Screw the humans, we're better. And it worked very well.
The ending,
Storm has this great moment where she's like the newly reborn mutants. She's cheering them on to the whole crowd. It's like Morpheus from the Matrix moment.
She's the guy in Mighty Mighty Boston's that dances on stage. Get everyone
yeah. I saw that guy live.
It also gets into some like the diplomatic stuff with Krakoa, and Emma Frost is using her powers to get votes on the UN Security Council.
Right?
So that's evil as all get out. The immortality thing, there are moral implications there. That is just weird.
I like how Professor X says, like, oh, well, like, that's evil, and that takes a toll. And she's like, oh, like, well, you're judging me now? I was like, no, like, I thank you for, your sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, cool.
This wraps with the with X inviting all of the villains to Krakoa, and it was great. Like, every mutant villain, so good. Apocalypse is like, oh man, this is exactly what I wanted. Well, that can't be good, guys. If Apocalypse is all for your plan is probably evil. Again, dude, such a great issue.
So
it's creative genius, dude. Hickman is just murdering this so good. I love it.
The Krakoan,
he's making like Wally West and just murdering.
Yeah. He's making like Dan DiDio and just murdering DC.
It's so good, dude. It's so good.
The Krakoan code at the end, it says next for the children, like Wu-Tang. And then I am not ashamed of what I am. So I'm not sure what the then means.
It's gotta be. It's X is Moira, dude. It is. She's the only one evil enough through the whole series who could do what she's been doing.
Shout out to Comic Book Bullies. I love it when Leroy tries to say Moira.
Oh yeah, Moira.
Moira.
It is. It's hilarious.
Sorry, Leroy.
I love Leroy, man.
Now Leroy will leave a comment. He's not left a comment in a while because we haven't said his name.
I dog him all the time. I love it.
All right, we ready to get in some random reviews?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Random reviews presented by collarandelbowbrand.com. Check them out. Use promo code ComicCast at checkout. Save 10%. I don't have much at all. I didn't read a whole lot this week. I did read both of the Star Wars Age of Resistance one-shots for Rey and also Rose Tico of all characters. What the heck?
I demand.
Both of these had a similar vibe. A lot of conversations with Princess Leia, and as much as I enjoyed the last couple of issues, they missed the boat. These were pointless. Tom Taylor has been so up and down with these things, but I'm still he's got Kylo Ren coming this week, so I'm excited to pick that one up. Black Hammer Age of Doom number 12. Jeff Lemire, Dean Ormston. The band is back together. The anti-God is coming, and there's only one way to stop him. What could that possibly be? Send the team back to the farm
to even things out.
Is it true?
Good. You put the good
or is there going to be this epic battle between our team and the anti-God? Man, I'll just say this. I'm not going to spoil it, even though you can pretty much tell by the way me and Jason just interacted there. If this is truly goodbye to this team, if this is the end of our superhero team, I know Lemire's going to do some more Black Hammer universe stuff. But if this is the end of our team, I can say I was 100% satisfied. With the way he went out on it. It was great.
I think the newsletter, or possibly in this comic, he said that Volume 3 is going to continue for one more to finish out the trilogy. He's going to have mainly focused on the daughter of Black Hammer. So
the new Black Hammer.
The new Black Hammer.
Correct.
Yeah. Dude, this ending was so good. And he said this is how he always pictured the ending. So that's really cool for a creator to finish their vision, and plan to have everything go according to plan.
Yeah,
great stuff.
I loved it. So emotional too. Like so many good things in this one issue.
Dude, the ending, dude. With I love. Oh, this is perfect, dude.
Yeah, it was a perfect comic book. It really was. Like I read it and I was just like, oh man.
Dude, Gail,
I don't want any
buddy.
dude. That was
dude.
I knew that was coming, but when he
Yes.
came running around the corner, I was
Yes.
like,
I
"What?
loved
Yes!"
it, dude. I was so happy, dude.
Oh, it was
happy.
so cool, so cool, man! I just got chill bumps when you brought that part up. Oh, it's awesome.
I was so happy, dude.
Yeah,
She deserves it, you know. God, it was so good.
satisfactory. That's it. That's all I got.
Man,
What's on Gaumer's file?
Oh my gosh, so much. Justice League 32, still great. I mean, it's so weird and wonderful and crazy. Snyder, Tiny, and Howard Porter doing art. It's all coming to a head for the Doom War thing. So,
Aquaman's finally back.
Yeah, Aquaman's back. It came out of left field. I mean, I guess he was hinted at previously, but I love it when Aquaman just does stupid things with his powers, and he's like using sharks and dolphins to save soldiers. It's just so silly. I love it. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man 12, Tom Taylor and Perez, still good. Taylor just writes a fun Spider-Man for me. I can't get enough of his work. Guardians of the Galaxy 9, Donny Cates, Corey Smith. Continuing this whole space church cult thing, kind of meh, but the last page reveal was worth the cover price.
I knew it was coming. Knew it.
Yeah, Drax is back.
If you guys are reading Thanos, then it ties in, you know.
Yeah, there's a rumor that Cates is actually off this book at issue number 12. The solicit for issue number 12, which comes out in December, suggests that everything that Cates has done to this point forward in terms of the cosmic stuff is all going to wrap on that issue, which is weird. I want to see him do more.
Yeah,
but maybe he's just going to get a different book, in January. But Once and Future 2, Kieran Gill and Dan Moore. I know you guys were iffy on this one. I'm still.
I liked it, man. It was great. I thought it was
still
great.
a fan. I love the Arthurian legend myth stuff, and this is just a fun modern take on it. I want more. I love it. It's a
me
great
too.
book.
I think I liked it better than the first issue.
I did. I definitely liked it better. Dude, Arthur is back. The king is back. He's got half of the Knights of the Round Table. And there's some baby that they're going to use to make Galahad.
It's like the girl's daughter that brought him back.
Yes.
But she totally used those other guys to get her there because the blood thing,
You have to be of British blood. Anglo-Saxons get murdered by zombie Arthur.
That's cool.
That's so cool. Rick and Morty versus Dungeons & Dragons Chapter 2, Painscape, number 1, Jim Zub and Troy Little. Just as good as the first one. Hard to explain, but the whole world has been infected by a role-playing game virus where everybody just loves Dungeons & Dragons. And the people causing it are the alternate dimension selves of the first 2 Dungeons & Dragons characters that Rick made years and years ago, and they were so terrible. I mean, it's just dumb and stupid and Rick and Morty perfect.
Sounds fun. Yeah.
It was. And that Lex Luthor book from Year of the Villain, Jason Latour and Brian Hitch, only Luthor. Apex Lex visits all these other Lexes from the multiverse. But basically his end goal was to teach a young version of himself from another universe so that he could have that kid as a backup in case everything goes to hell for the Doom War. This is them putting a hole in the corner that they were painting themselves in by having Apex Lex. So by the time everything's done and Justice League actually wins, like they always do, and Apex Lex is stuck, I don't know what the heck's going to happen. Perpetua's probably going to own him. Anyway, he can just push his consciousness back into this little kid and it'll work great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because the issue has him. Yeah, it's a great issue. I mean, it's funny because it has him going through different multiverses and seeing these different versions of Lex Luthor. But like in the end, we know that it was just one. He just got this kid and put like the Black Mercy on the kid. So this kid's in a sleep state. You know what I mean?
In a
so
dream
this
state,
dream was all this whole entire issue was a dream in the kid's head. You know?
Exactly.
It was really cool. And I really like that last Lex Luthor, man. I think he was a really good Lex Luthor that did it all and had a good head on his shoulder.
The gardener.
Yeah. The hipster Lex Luthor with a beard. Yeah,
hipster. That's better than Gardner.
But yeah, it was a great issue.
Yeah, very fun, dude. Very.
But you're right. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to kill Lex Luthor, in Justice League War with Perpetua, or maybe Perpetua's going to kill him or whatever. And then he's going to have his consciousness put back in this kid, and we're going to have our regular Lex Luthor back.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll have kid baby Lex Luthor. That'd be funny. Maybe you don't have to age him up. He'll just be a kid Lex Luthor.
I'd be okay with that. But good on Jason Latour. I love his stuff. I wish he'd get back to drawing Southern Bastards, but whatever. Moving on. That's it for me, man. I read more, but that's all I want to talk about.
Right on. I'm enjoying Dead Man Logan. It's been pretty good.
Almost over, right?
Yeah, one more issue, dude. This is the penultimate one. Sabbath Sword and Conan. I want to talk about that one. That was really, really fun. Jim Zub. This finishes up his first story arc, Conan the Gambler. This one, he was pretty much in like the Sarlacc pit or whatever, like the Rancor pit. Actually, he was like fighting this big monster, and broke himself out, killed the monster or whatever. And at the end, I mean, it was really a fun ride, is what it was. I highly recommend Savage Sword of Conan. I don't think it still holds a candle to Jason Aaron's Conan the Barbarian. That's still hands down my favorite of the Conan series, or all these other spin-offs or tie-ins or whatever. But it's still a great read. I would pick up Savage Sword and the regular Conan the Barbarian. Highly recommend them too. A lot of fun. Valkyrie was amazing. Dude, Valkyrie was so good. It was
I shouldn't sleep on that book.
Dude,
I just need to grab it.
This hands down the best issue of Valkyrie. I mean, the first two were okay, I thought, but like this one was fantastic. It's a journey into mystery. So to see all these different like afterlife kind of things with Heimdall, and it was just, the art was incredible. At one point, they go through this like blood tree in a hell dimension, and they go through like this whole portal in the middle of it, and there's all these arms and stuff that are reaching out for them. The art was so sick. It was so cool, man. And yeah, it was great. So I recommend Valkyrie. Do we even know how long that's going for?
I think it's ongoing, dude.
It's ongoing.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm down.
It'll be canceled by 6 because no one will read it.
That's what turned me off of it, though. If it had been a miniseries, I would have said, okay, I'm committed to it.
Totally.
But it's
I was hoping like a 5-issue mini,
Yeah.
All right. Aftershock Comics put out You Are Obsolete #1. That's the only comic Aftershock put out. So I was like, oh, why not? I'll read it. It just had some news reporter lady that I guess got canceled, and she got invited to go to some island by some kids. And she's for some story or something. She's just like, all right, well, I'll go. And the whole town seems to be controlled by these kids, and they're like scared to talk or something.
Oh, wow.
And it has something to do with like cell phones and technology. I don't know. It's really strange, but it was a curious read. I might read issue 2 because I just want to see what's up with these kids, where she finally met at the end of the issue. So I'll give it one more shot. Second Coming #3 is still a pretty good, fun read. And I think that's all I really want to talk about.
Nice.
Yeah.
All good books.
Yeah, I read a lot more. Yeah, we went over them earlier, but
all right, I guess that's it. It's time to get into the Outright Geekery book of the week. OutrightGeekery.com, your one-stop shop for news, reviews, previews, podcasts, everything geek, and a little bit of talking balls at your fingertips. Outright Geekery.
He can't help himself. He can't help himself.
I don't know if Man Bear Pig and Chad Johnson continue in the live chat. We may have World War III, which may lead to more views on our podcast.
Yeah, we need them in the show. If they're going to argue about something, we need them on next week.
Let's do a live stream of them fist fighting. That would be awesome.
Nice.
Outright Geekery Book of the Week, G.I. Joe #1, written by Paul Allor, art by Chris Evan Huis. Wheat. Colors by Vicky. Letters by Neil Utake. I'm just making this up as I go. Life during wartime. This book opens up and you find out pretty quick that things are bad. It is a time of war, and Cobra is about to win that war. Duke is playing Rambo, I guess. He's running around taking on 15 different Cobra soldiers. And I'm like, that's freaking comic books. And then he pays the price and gets freaking executed, man.
Dude.
I call it a saw vipering.
That escalated very quickly.
It did.
Yes, this death, not the death, but the violence of the death.
The last thing he said was,
what are you going to do, shoot me?
I need a hole in the head.
Yeah, Bilal. But then we move forward, and the protagonist is just a dude, man, just a regular dude. And you kind of start, or at least I was kind of starting to question, what's up with this guy? Why is he in the middle of this? Why is he just thrown to the forefront? Why is he slinging Molotov cocktails at a Cobra facility? And why is he being recruited by G.I. Joe? But then Stalker and Scarlet are having this conversation about this kid, and she's talking about, this is the problem with using civilians. It makes it even come more to the forefront that things are bad.
Yeah.
They don't have a choice at this point. So I don't know. There was good and bad here. I like the book. I like that it's not your typical G.I. Joe. I like that it's something different, because if you want that old school classic G.I. Joe, go read the other book that's on issue 8,000 now with Adam's buddy.
Good. It's good.
I think we all could take a note from Duke in this book and have an open mind.
Oh, nice.
Wow. I'm glad you waited to get that in there.
Just clicked to me.
I mean, hey, I'm gonna
That's
spoil
the
it.
only note he took for this week's show. That's the only note.
Yeah, it was just written down right in front of him. I'm going to spoil the book. The cliffhanger is G.I. Joe surrendering. So,
well, the United States surrendering.
Surrendered to Cobra. Yeah,
Cobra.
The war is over. The Cobra won.
But the terrorist freeding fighing has just begun.
Trump got voted in.
if it's even the actual like I've been watching G.I. Joe cartoons in the morning before I go to work.
Nice.
And how many times, like almost every episode, they are fooled by Zartan or Zarana in costume or impersonating someone. So it's like, who's to say? Even in the movies, the president was impersonated by Zartan. Yeah. So who's to say that's not how they're giving up? Is because Zartan's impersonating,
and that's certainly fair in the context of everything that's come before. But I think this new spin, this new status quo, is for real, and they're going to explore what it's like to be on the other side of that conflict. To be the freedom fighters in your own country, fighting for what you know is right in a land where what you think is right is illegal.
And occupied America.
Occupied America. Yep. I think it's a Joe for the modern day. I don't think a lot of people are going to like it, especially longtime Joe fans. But if you want, like Boogie said, if you want that same old Snake Eyes in the pajamas, jumping out of the shadows, kicking Storm Shadow's butt, go read the other book, you know. This is a more real, a more, like I said, modern, and you can't help but draw parallels to things that are actually happening in the real world, and that's what I want in my comics. And man, I am 100. This I can't.
I mean, I've always wanted to be able to see what Duke was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. They say love is what's in the inside. Now we know what Duke's
Adam has talked about
like.
G.I. Joe the cartoon and corny jokes. That's what he's added to the show.
This book, I kind of wish.
We'll make your mind explode.
All right. We were talking about it earlier. I kind of wish. Well, I don't wish, but I was thinking, what if they had just started out with the kid throwing the Molotov cocktail? That started the book. Yeah. Boom, and you're like, "What's up? Why is this kid throwing a Molotov cocktail?"
I would have much rather seen Duke get what happened to him.
And I mean,
that was more shocking.
I didn't like the main character kid. He's an annoying kind of kid, and
I think he's supposed to be.
Yeah,
he's a millennial.
Yeah,
he's a millennial.
Right. I mean, he's going to come to a point where he like meets everyone, and everyone's kind of dogging him for being the new guy. And he's like, "You don't have anything to lose." He's like, "Oh yeah, well I lost this, my family, and my boyfriend, or whatever." You know, it's like, all right, well, and then
he's like Luke Skywalker from Episode 3. I want to help too.
Yeah.
Well, he does, and that's what they're doing. They're looking for regular Americans who are willing to step up.
I just wish it was more compelling.
Do what's right.
I wish it was. I don't know. I wish it was written better. You know, I wish it was more. I don't know.
He was annoying.
He has the motivation. Where his family's dead, his boyfriend's kidnapped, but it wasn't compelling. He was annoying and dumb.
That's why I think him coming out of the gate, like seeing him throwing a Molotov note, seeing that he's sick of this, and then you can get into why he threw the Molotov.
Right.
Oh, because
not be wishy-washy and then kind of buy into it by coincidence or whatever.
Yeah. But is it?
Because him
that's how
you
become. How else do you find the force? How else do you find the group that is fighting the good fight against the evil?
You don't, because you're not a civilian that's all of a sudden randomly pulled in, and you're a special ops guy that's going to fight against Cobra. That doesn't happen in real life.
I think him throwing the Molotov shows he's taking action
initiative by himself. Yep.
The Joes, these Joes are thinking maybe not that, he's going to be a good team member. Maybe it's best that, he's not against us. Mm-hmm. Let's get him with us so he doesn't screw up another one of our missions.
That's not a bad point.
We can keep an eye on him. But him throwing the Molotov afterwards, it seemed like to me he was throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
He seemed childish. He seemed annoying. Whereas if he's out of the gate throwing it, you kind of see him like, whoa, what is going on?
Well,
with
he's
this
certainly
guy?
untrained, and that's an angle that they're taking. That
Yeah.
they're having to take people all along. GI Joe was a specialized operations force where they took people from the military, all aspects of the military, who were specialized in what they do, and then added them to this team to be greater than the sum of all its parts. But now they're sort of stuck. They can't recruit. They have to get people who are just willing to stand up for what's right.
They need bodies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was explained in the original cartoon in the show's theme does not apply in this book. They need a new theme.
you take Adam or me or any one of the four of us and say, all right, you guys are going to go fight with special forces. Good luck. We're going to die within the first 2 minutes.
Exactly.
There's nothing we can do.
But
Hey, man,
if there's an enemy right outside my door driving tanks up my street and the freedom fighters come and say, hey, you want to go bomb some of these jokers? I'm like, you're damn right. I want to defend my country and go bomb these jokers.
That's what you would. You'd be like,
yes, I would. If they were right outside my door, I'm
going to sit in my basement and eat chili until they go away.
The thing is, like, his family got murdered and his boyfriend got kidnapped. Who knows how long ago? And then now he's finally like, oh, all right, what's going on? Let me deliver a pizza. And then he goes, oh, there's trash that this guy threw, so let me look it up. Oh, a USB drive. Come on, man.
Well, there was also a guy
right immediately.
But there was also a guy right next to him. But there was also a guy right next to him on a bench who saw that same trash go in the trash can, and he ignored it because he saw that Cobra was chasing him. The same kid saw that Cobra was chasing him, and you could tell he already wanted to do something. But now he has the opportunity to do something.
Yeah.
But Adam is right because, then it leads to, okay, I've done something. Now let me go throw a Molotov cocktail. It escalates very, a little bit too fast possibly. But the overall tenor and tone of the book, taking those things that could happen is interesting to me.
This could have been so much better. It was a good book, I think. I like it, and I want to continue reading it. But it could have been done so much better, and especially for a new #1. And then the art was okay. I don't think maybe I like the coloring. I don't think I like the coloring is what messed it up.
I like the art, especially like some of the action panels.
Yeah, I think
some of the action panels were cool.
Yeah, but it was flat. But I think that was also just that's Evan Hughes.
The coloring, it definitely, and I know I keep harping back to the cartoon, but I felt like it had an animated style to it.
It's difficult not to because it's freaking GI Joe.
Yeah, but I like this. I like the book. I like the concept. I like where it can go. Yeah. I definitely like all that. I just feel like I've never made a comic book. I'm
of course.
I could be
review comic books,
talking out of my butt here. But
thank you for saying that.
That's all we're all doing, man.
But I felt like this could have been structured differently to get better pacing. That him maybe starting the book off with that Molotov, starting hot out of the gate.
Well, they did assassinate the guy at GI Joe, so
then maybe given just a little exposition, just kind of spritzed in there here and there as to the background on this guy. Might have made the time frame a little bit more ambiguous. So you're not saying, well, he's sitting around on this. He's sitting around on this. He's kind of whining. Oh, now he's going to throw a Molotov. Finally. Oh, he's kind of seems like
his boyfriend's training with Cobra and kills him.
Oh,
I give it 2.
That could be man. I would be 100% with that.
Dude, that'd be great.
Wonderful.
Dude, I give it a $2.99.
Yeah, I gave it $3.99. I loved this a whole lot. I've been a GI Joe fan for a long time. There were 2 things that got me into comics: Transformers and GI Joe. Marvel made the comics back in the day. My dad would bring them home, and then X-Men got in the stacks eventually, and then it led to this. But this is the best spin I've seen on GI Joe in 30 years. So I'm on board. I'm a big fan of the franchise, and this new direction is really compelling.
Everybody go look up Doc Saw Viper and enjoy the rest of your day. I give it $2.99.
I'll give it a $2.49, somewhere between $1.99.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Just change it. Change the rules.
Just make it.
All right, we're gonna go to Japanese. All right.
New Comic Book Day, September 25th, 2019. Gaumer. What are you excited about? What's
Oh,
a
there's-
couple of books you're picking up?
There's a lot. Powers of X, number 5, of course. Avengers 24. Harleen is coming out. Batman, Superman. There's a new Transformers book. Galaxies. This can't be worse than the current ongoing Transformers. This is all about the Constructicons. The Constructicons are a very compelling group of characters because their entire role is to build things, but they turn into a giant robot whose sole purpose is to destroy things. And this is going to look at that yin and yang of these characters. And
It makes sense.
It does. It's
You
such
have
a
you
good
have
story.
construction, you have demolition. It makes sense.
Well, they demolish stuff that is good though, that they don't want to, usually
You guys-
demolition is break shitty stuff.
Well, at least they can rebuild it.
Exactly. So yeah, a lot of other books coming out, but those are tops on my list.
What if after the Constructicons separate from Devastator, they come to almost like after a drunken party. They're like, "What did we do? Oh my
Oh,
god,
man, we gotta build
destroy
this." It's the
What's
best
up?
union
What's
job
up, El
ever.
Nino?
Best
Did you ever-
union job ever.
You guys remember this? This one band was called Shockwave, and they were just a Transformers hardcore band.
Oh, it sounds
And
awesome.
yeah, but it's all from the Decepticons' point of view. Like they're like, "We will destroy," dude. It's so awesome. They're so fun if you like hardcore stuff. But it's
Nice.
like based in like Erie, and I think it came out like maybe like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But that was some good stuff back in the day. I used to love Shockwave.
Nice.
Erie, Indiana.
Yeah, Erie, PA, or actually Erie, Ohio. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Man in Black number 3, Cullen Bunn. That's only a 4-issue miniseries.
Mhm.
Glad to see Shazam back. Shazam number 7. It's
Yes,
so
me
slow
too.
and delayed coming out, but it's so good when
God,
it
I love
does.
Shazam.
I mentioned the Kylo Ren one shot. Looking forward to that. And then that Harleen book that Gomer mentioned is going to be worth the price tag just to look at it.
Mhm,
It's going to be so freaking good.
I
Stefan
love Steven
Chajik,
Sedgwick. I
so
love him.
freaking good. Oh man, can't
I
wait.
love him so much.
What about you, Jason? What's on your radar that we left? I know Gomer likes to read down the whole list.
I
when
will.
he goes-
too,
I'm
yeah.
reading it all.
He just
I
goes
do
in
too.
alphabetical order. Well, there's Action
Yeah, same.
Comics.
That's what I was like. Yeah, I did too.
Aquaman comes out.
Ah,
Yeah,
Thanks,
I mean,
man.
I love
Chris-
comics. I can't help
Chris the
myself.
White Knight number 3.
See,
I'm
there you
excited
go.
for that. Yeah.
That's a good one I
Um,
didn't mention.
I mean, Detective Comics, there's a new story arc. I mean, I think it talks about the Mr. Freeze or Mrs. Freeze. You know what I mean?
It's about
It's
time
gonna
to get
be-
to a new story. That whole Lost on the
Dude,
island was
that
sucked. That was
so
not
lame.
good, man.
I did not
Yeah,
like
I
that.
have a
He's been
bad feeling
killing
about
it too.
Dude, the first
That's
two arcs were
probably
great.
the
First two
worst
arcs were
Detective
great.
Comics arc though in like 3 years.
I
Yeah.
know, man.
Yeah, it was
dude.
bad.
Detective's
that
been
was bad.
so good.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling about this one too, but I'm going to pick it up. Because I don't really want to see Mrs. Freeze, but still, whatever. I'm excited to see what happens in Flash number 79 with all the different powers. That one power guy that was a jerk. I think he was controlled the Stage Force. I think the Black Flash got him. So hopefully he's dead because I hated that character, and hopefully that power goes to someone else, and then they recruit that guy and part of the team. So I don't know. And the Justice League Dark by Tynion is awesome. Number 15 comes out. Really excited for that. And as Boogie pointed out, Shazam. That's all DC stuff though. But
Yeah. I mean, we should have gone deeper into James Tynion because him getting Batman means that he's
so
probably
excited.
going to be off that book.
We were too busy talking. We were too busy talking about other things like
Smack on
Bendis.
Bendis. Yeah, how terrible Brian Michael Bendis is.
What about you, Adam? Are you reading any comic books next week?
Only the ones you make me.
Pretty Violent number 2
Yeah, there you go.
from Image. It's a fun book, and I don't know. Strike Force, Marvel. I don't know.
I don't know about
looks
that
like
either,
it
man.
could be interesting, but
I like
I'm
that
not
team. That's
sure.
gonna be fun.
I
I'm excited for
want to pick it up, but then there's this voice in the back of my head saying, dude, that's going to suck so bad.
Don't
be
do
fun.
it.
Yeah.
Who's it by? Right? Who's it by? Do we know
Teeny
who-
Howard. Teeny Howard's right.
I'm
See,
okay with it. I don't know, man.
It can't be. Yeah. I
I'm
don't
She
not-
let
know.
me down with that Thanos miniseries. It
Yeah, I
finally
knew it,
ends this
dude.
week, and I'm so glad.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I knew getting into Thanos I wasn't gonna like because I was like, all right, but I got it because I knew it was tying into Guardians of the Galaxy, and then I'm reading her Death's Head also, and that's not good.
Yeah, Death's Head
So-
is not good. And I love that character.
You
man.
just unsold me on it.
Sorry. Well, read it
I think
anyway.
maybe-
Read it
I think,
anyway.
I'm gonna read it. Yeah, I'm gonna read it.
I may let my eyes deceive me when it comes to her works.
Oh, yeah.
She's-
She's
I'll
easy on
just-
the eyes. She's easy
yeah.
on the eyes.
That what was the that Agents of Wakanda? I want to give a shout out to that one that came out this week also because at the end they ran into the Sentry
Yeah, Sentry's back now.
So I was like, oh, that's weird. You know, the Lemire version of Sentry, because he's got to be all super powered. I mean, I thought he went to space. Maybe we'll find out what happened.
He went to space and he like made this. Him and the Void are cool now. They're like pals now.
They're one. Yeah, and they like, took off into space. So this is the all-powered Sentry that's in Agents of Wakanda that just came out this past Wednesday, and that was an okay book. I mean, I was kind of excited just to see the mashup of characters, and it's Jim Zub. So you know.
The Void in Century is kind of like the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles movie.
Yeah, but that's one.
The Void is John Candy, and Steve Martin is the Century.
Yeah.
Which ones are the pillows?
Those aren't pillows.
Is that Tom King and Bendis the pillows? We're all in between with our hands. There we go.
You can see me and Jason repping the new ComicCast shirts. They are still available to order. What happens because we sold so many of them? Now, anytime somebody goes in and purchases a shirt, it opens up a new campaign. 3 weeks later, the shirts will automatically ship. The links are in the description. Dude, I love this blue.
They're super soft, dude.
Yeah, the blue is the best, man.
They're dope.
It's so great.
Go pick one up. They're $19.99. All the money that we get from these goes right back into promoting the podcast. Don't forget next week, new start time, 7 p.m. We will be live, and we'll do that. It may be the new time moving forward. We may do it for a month or so. Chad in the live chat, he was muted. After the super chat, I muted him so he wouldn't burp in your all's face. So take that.
That's Patreon only. You got to pay
Adam,
more for that.
Which is that because it was a good burp.
You got to pay more for bodily functions.
That's in the Patreon pre-show. You can go to patreon.com/ComicCastPod. Adam burps at least 3 times in the pre-show.
He's got to get it out of his system.
But
I'm very gassy.
That's going to wrap things up. If you're listening to this after the fact, if you're not listening live, always do us a favor. Make sure you do smash that like button. I'm hoping at 7 o'clock next Sunday, maybe we'll get some new listeners. I think it would be cool because I know there are people out there that only listen to this show on a podcast platform.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be so cool to see you guys show up for a live stream, even if it's just once, just to interact with you guys. Because I know there are a lot of people that only listen that way. So show up next Sunday, 7 p.m. right here on the S&B Network. On YouTube. Adam, where can they find you on the old Twitter machine?
I'm at Adam Wade Adams.
Gaumer.
I'm at Gaumer.
Jason.
Comics Misexplained. Actually, no. Jason Cantu 1.
Yeah.
Where are you dropping those great memes?
On Comics Misexplained on Facebook and Instagram, and Party Pug on Facebook. And Slow Heavy Metal Music Playing is another one, and Pooh and Tim's, and there's a lot of other accounts. Too many.
Awesome.
It's hard to keep all those dank memes to one account.
Once he does his bio, we'll have a list of all those.
There's no way.
We've only been waiting for 3 months.
I know. I'm sorry, guys, but a shout out real quick to Comic Man Andy in the chat. He's a good homie of mine. Good to see him.
Nice.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of ComicCast. Don't forget 7 p.m. next week. Chad Johnson. Nobody can mute Boogie because I run this ship.